it's Fitting Dragon. Right now we are continuing where we left off with the currently ink for mid-April 2026. So for the pens and inks that I'm showing you today, I was inking them deliberately because I wanted to show my most unique pens that I wanted my friend to try in the hope of making them want these pens and inks in their collection, which unfortunately we didn't get to do because when we met with some other people, I didn't manage to let them try the pens and inks that I brought for that moment. While I normally ink majority from the ink samples that I got, for this specific inking, I only use my ink bottles, and at the same time it feels as if I'm coming back to my comfort zone with inks and pens, and that's also a nice feeling, and it makes me think that I need to ink my ink bottles more often, which I didn't do that much because of the siren of ink samples, which we know, but we don't talk about that in here. So let's get to what pens and inks that I want my friend to try because they are so amazing. Let's get to it. The first pen and ink combination is my best pen with my best nib, Taccia Ukiyo-e Hokusai Benitsuchi, inside my Opus 88 pumpkin with CY Cursive Smooth Italic nib. I really want to make my friend get an Opus 88 because this pen is just so great. It's so comfortable. It has nice ink capacity and it's my favorite. What else to say? Oh, whenever I write with this pen and nib, I want to write with this combination again and again. I don't want to stop. This is so nice. And it's really helping that the ink is also so nice. This Taccia Benitsuchi may be one of my most favorite brown ink that I have in my collection, and this particular one come in a set of 4. I think each bottle in the set is about 12 to 15 milliliter each, which is definitely not enough ink for an ink that I really love. So I'm heavily considering buying a bigger bottle now, but not for now. The performance of this ink is so nice. It's very smooth. It's very wet. I think the word that people usually use is lubricated. And it's just so pleasant to write with. And whenever I write with this pen and ink and nib, I always smile. And it also helps that the nib that I put here is my personalized grind by CY, the Cursive Smooth Italic. It's kinda stubbish, but also I asked it to be in the middle of sharp and smooth. And here we are. This CSI nib has been tried so many times with my fountain pen club member, and some of them really want to get this grind on their pen, so I counted as a successful penapling for my fountain pen club member, but unfortunately not for my friend because they didn't get to try this pen and ink and nib combination. As for color comparison, it is the closest with Monteverde Jungle Giraffe. It's very close. Although I see now that Benitsuchi has a wider range of color, so it can go very dark to rather light, while Giraffe does not really have that range, and it is rather compared to Ackerman as BRA brown. The next pen and ink combination is Taccia Ukiyo-e Hiroshige Naka Murasaki. I feel it inside my Sealer 1911 large with broad 21 karat gold nib. So the reason why I wanted my friend to try this pen is because of the sailor feeling. They didn't have any sailor pen yet. This broad 21 karat gold nib may be one of my most comfortable pen and the nicest feedback feeling nib that I have in my collection. I have the Sailor Pro gear, and I do think that this pen has bigger crisp section compared to that pen. The broad nib and the feedback that I got with this nib is just so good. I love it so much, and this pen is so wet. Coupled with this Taccia, Ukiyo-e, Hiroshige, Naka, Murasaki, this writing experience is so divine. I love this so much, and I cannot stop writing when I write with this pen and ink combination as well. Well, unfortunately, the price hike for the Sailor's pens have been so incredibly high. So maybe it's a good thing that they don't try this pen and nib so that they don't miss out what they're missing. Oh, okay. So Taccia Naka Murasaki is pretty close to Sailor Shikiori Potsu Potsu, although Potsu Potsu is lighter and bluer, while Tensan Night Sky from Bresil Press is darker, and this Naka Murasaki is just a nice in between these two. When I was thinking that I wanted to ink the Pilot 823, somehow the first ink that comes to my mind is Klingner Solferino, so I decided to ink this pen with this ink. It is a very great choice. I think it goes without saying that we all know that Pilot Custom 823 is special by its own. It is very comfortable and it has a pretty weighty weight. I wanted my friend to try this pen as well because they prefer heavier pen, and this is one of my heavier pen in my collection. I would prefer if the filling mechanism is not a vacuum, but if I can get this writing experience with this pen, then I'm okay with that. And also this ink. Oh, Rohrer Klingner ink in general is way too normal, I can say it like that. And not as many attention comes to them anymore compared to the other ink brands which have more exciting colors in general. Whenever I come back to Rohrer Klingner, I am always satisfied with what I get from this ink. Like this Solferino is very wet and pleasant in this pen. With my Pilot Custom 823, I learned quite the hard way that I cannot really put drier ink in here because the writing experience would be not as nice. But with Rohrer Solferino, writing with this combination is just so good. And color comparison wise, Rohrer Solferino is just a tad bit more saturated compared to Diamine, Jingleberry, or Wearingle Cheshire Cat. If you don't have this ink yet, I can recommend having it. Okay, this next combination I wanted to show to my friend because the ink itself is unique because it changes color depending on the paper that I use. It's Sailor Shikiori Rikyucha, and also with this pen is a custom pen by Studyo Agackakan, and what's special about this as well is the nib that I put in it. It's also grind by CY, a personalized grind on last year's Dutch pen show. It is a mini Sankakusen, so it is thinner on high writing angle and thicker on lower writing angle. I'm writing on regular angle on the ink name and on higher angle on the pen and nib name. I wanted to show this combination as well because Rikyucha reminds me a lot of tea, and my friends also love drinking tea. So this is quite symbolic. And as mentioned before, Sailor Shikiori Rikyucha is really paper dependent. So for example, on the swatch card, it is more on the brownish side because of the reddish sheen on it. While on this Yusari paper, and I think also on Tomoe River paper, yeah, they are more on the greener side. While on Tomoe River, there are also some reddish sheen on the heavier part of the ink. And this in general is just such a unique color that I cannot really find in any other ink. And on my collection, the closest that I can show here is Sailor Shikiori Tokiwa Matsu. So Rikyucha is more on the greenish yellowy space color, while Tokiwa Matsu is more on the greenish space color. Also, both of them have reddish sheen. Okay, this combination is the Coloverse Rainy Day. I feel it inside my AbleSnail sketch pen, which is made of ebonite, and it just have a nice pattern on it. It's my only vertical lines pattern, and the nib is the Gena reverse architect nib. So this pairing is a pleasant surprise, I do feel, because I didn't really expect anything aside from I wanted to have a blue, because I didn't really have that much blue ink at that moment when I was inking this pen. And I chose Colorverse Rainy Day because it has been quite a while since the last time I inked this ink. And when I put this ink inside this pen and nib, on the reverse side the color is lighter, and on the regular side it is darker. And just a note that on the reverse side in here the writing is the architect, while the regular side is the fine. It's a nice surprise, and I enjoyed writing with this combination way more than I thought. Unfortunately, I didn't get to let my friend try this because I wanted them to really know what a grind feels like. Oh well. As for color comparison, Coloverse Rainy Day is the closest with Shanghai Stationery Broken Bridge. It also have a chamois color with the base color of the wet pen Elliot B. And it's a pleasant writing experience. The Coloverse Rainy Day is more on the wetter side, and I enjoyed every moment I write with this. Right, it's the last pen and ink combination, and this was the wrong pen that I picked up last time on the currently ink, and the one that I wrote here on the left side of the cactus drawing. I have Herbin Cacao to Bresil inside this Asvine G16 with medium Yowo number 6 nib. The reason why I wanted to show this pen to my friend is because of this pattern and the material. So this is a ebonite pen, so it have a quite the unique smell to it. But I also love how the pattern on this one looks. It's just so nice and cute. It reminds me a lot of the forest, and the colorway name is Amazon Green, if I remember it correctly. This pen is also one of my most comfortable pen at the moment, maybe partly because it uses the Yowo number 6 nib, which is also my favorite nib at the moment. I first bought this pen in the hope that I wanted to swap the nib with other specialized nib that I have in my collection, but it turns out that this nib is just so pleasant to write with that it feels as if this pen and this nib is the forever pairing. And the Herbin Cacao to Bresil as an ink, when you read the name you will expect that it would be a brown ink, but it is safe to say that don't expect any brown ink with this ink, because Herbin Cacao to Bresil is more on the grayish brownish side of the color, and so if you expect it to be brown, it's not going to go well. If you expect it to be a nice color though, that's a different thing entirely, because it is indeed a nice color. It reminds me of quite the vintage type of color. So I have some color comparison here. Herbin Cacao to Bresil is pretty close to Rohrer Klingner Sepia, but Cacao to Bresil is much more on the grayish side. So it's like a softer version of Rohrer Klingner Ebony. Also a nice ink. Alright, so these are all the pens that I inked because I wanted my friend to try, but in the end, they didn't get to try these pens and inks. And now my question to you. If you were to look into your pen and ink and nib collection and you have the task that you want to ink some of your collection to show to a precious friend, then what pen and ink and nib in your collection that you will let them try and why? Let me know and see you on the next one. Bye bye.